Hi, welcome to MoneyKetchup. Eli Vance's world was built on the silent, reassuring architecture of numbers. As a mid-level forensic accountant for the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, his domain was the ghostly trail of digital currency, the endless river of electrons that represented the modern economy. He traced malfeasance through SQL databases and blockchain explorers, his tools a keyboard and a triple monitor setup. Money, to Eli, was an abstract, a quantified agreement, a line in a ledger, a digital permission slip. The physicality of it, the grubby paper, the clink of coins, was an almost charming anachronism, like a horse-drawn carriage in the age of the Hyperloop. This clinical detachment shattered on a Tuesday afternoon with a phone call. His grandfather, Silas Vance, the man who had taught him to whittle and to identify constellations, had fallen on the porch of his remote Vermont cabin. A broken hip, complications, pneumonia. The prognosis was grim. "He's asking for you, Eli." His mother's voice, frayed with static and worry, came through the line. He's talking about the box. The iron box. The iron box. Eli hadn't thought of it in 20 years. A fireproof, footlocker-sized monstrosity bolted to the floorboards in Silas's root cellar. As a boy, he'd been forbidden from touching it. It was where Silas, a retired engineer and unabashed libertarian, kept his real money. To the young, digitally native Eli, it had seemed a relic, a museum piece. Now, with a cold knot in his stomach, he knew he had to go. He booked the last seat on a flight to Burlington. At the airport, he tapped his phone against a reader for a $7 coffee, watching the notification flash. Payment approved. Digital transaction ID, 8FH3Q92N. Seamless. Frictionless. A tiny, invisible siphon from his bank's server to the coffee shops. He settled into his seat, the plane a capsule of Wi-Fi and credit card-only snack carts, and felt the first tremor of dislocation. The Vermont air was a physical shock, cold, pine-scented, and dense. The cabin, a stubborn arrangement of timber and stone against the encroaching forest, smelled of wood smoke, old books, and the faint, metallic scent of the pot-bellied stove. Silas, propped in a hospital bed that looked alien in the rustic setting, was a diminished version of the giant from Eli's childhood. His hands, once capable of splitting logs, now trembled on the wool blanket. "The box, Eli," Silas whispered, his voice like dry leaves. "You need to understand it. Before it's too late. The key." He gestured weakly to a nail by the door, where an old, iron skeleton key hung. Eli's mother, exhausted, had gone to town for supplies. Alone, Eli took a flashlight and descended into the cellar. The air was damp and still. There, in the gloom, was the box. He turned the heavy key with both hands. The lock released with a satisfying clunk of forged steel. Inside was not just money, but a stratified archaeology of value. On top, neatly banded, were bricks of $100 bills. They were worn, soft at the edges, some bearing cryptic notes in Silas's handwriting, for emergencies. No system. Beneath them, rolls of silver dollars and pre-1965 quarters, their real metal value far exceeding their face. This was cash, tangible, sovereign, anonymous. It required no intermediary. A handshake in the dark, a transaction existing only between two parties. Eli hefted a band of bills. It had weight. It was quiet. It carried the history of every palm it had passed through. A diner waitress's tip, a farmer's market exchange, a secret deal. It was freedom, but also vulnerability. It could be stolen, burned, lost to a flood. Its value was an article of faith enforced by the very government Silas distrusted. Beneath the precious metal was a layer of documents, deeds, bonds, stock certificates, paper representations of digital money before it was digital. These were claims on value held elsewhere, in the vaults of corporations and the servers of banks. They were promises dependent on the integrity and solvency of the issuer. Finally, at the very bottom, in a sealed anti-static bag, was a small black hardware wallet and a sheet of paper with 12 words handwritten in meticulous script. "My seed phrase," Silas said when Eli returned upstairs, the hardware wallet in hand. "My crypto. Bitcoin mostly. Some Ethereum." He coughed, a ragged sound. "That's not money for buying coffee, son. That's an idea. A statement. It's value that lives nowhere and everywhere. It can't be inflated away by some bureaucrat." It's mine. Truly mine. Eli stared at the device. Cryptocurrency. In his work, he tracked it, the pseudo-anonymous wallets, the tumblers, the ransomware payments. It was a playground for criminals and speculators, a volatile digital casino. Yet here was his pragmatic grandfather, treating it with the solemnity of a last testament. Why, Grandpa? You have the cash, the metals. Why this? Silas's eyes gleamed. The cash is for when the system stutters. The crypto is for when it lies. He grasped Eli's wrist, his grip surprisingly strong. But you live in the system's belly. The digital river. I need you to do something for me. The request was simple and immense. Silas wanted to settle his affairs his way. $15,000 in cash to an old friend, Jeremiah, a reclusive mechanic who didn't believe in banks. A donation of $50,000 from his brokerage account, digital, traceable, approved by forms, to a land conservation trust. And the transfer of his Bitcoin, worth nearly $200,000, to a decentralized autonomous organization, DAO, funding open-source cryptography tools. I want you to move it all, Eli. See it. Feel it. Understand what each one does. Then you'll know. The journey began with digital money. From Silas's dusty laptop, Eli initiated the wire transfer. It was his natural habitat. He logged into the brokerage portal, a sleek interface of graphs and buttons, two-factor authentication, a secure password manager, a confirmation dialog. He filled in the trust's account number and routing information. Click. A progress bar. Transaction pending. Then, transaction completed. Reference ID, XT978432. It was effortless, weightless. The money had vanished from one column on a database and appeared in another, 50 miles away. It was safe, fast, and left a glittering forensic trail a mile wide. The IRS would see it. The bank's compliance algorithm had already flagged and cleared it. It was money as a tracked, regulated, socialized entity. Its convenience was its transparency. Its power was its dependence on a vast, interconnected web of trust in banks, in networks, in government stability. Next, the cash. Eli placed $15,000 in a plain backpack. The physical weight was unnerving. It felt illicit. Driving to Jeremiah's ramshackle garage on the edge of town, he was hyper-aware of the bag on the passenger seat. Every pothole was a jolt to his nerves. Jeremiah, a man with grease under his nails and eyes that missed nothing, accepted the cash without a word. He didn't count it in front of Eli, just hefted the bag and nodded. Silas was a good man. The transaction was complete. No record, no middleman, just the transfer of tangible value. Eli felt a strange, primal thrill, followed by a wave of vulnerability. What if he'd been robbed? What if Jeremiah claimed he never got it? There was no recourse, only trust and the memory of a handshake. Finally, the crypto. This was alien terrain. He plugged in the hardware wallet, shielded from online threats. He entered the seed phrase, the 12 words that were the absolute keys to the kingdom. Lose them, and the Bitcoin was lost forever, floating in the blockchain forever out of reach. Steal them, and it was yours, irrevocably. He connected to the DAO's public wallet address, a long string of alphanumeric characters. He set the transaction fee, a bid to have miners prioritize his transfer in the next block. He double-checked everything. A single typo would send Silas's life savings into the cryptographic void. He took a breath and clicked send. Minutes later, on a blockchain explorer, he watched the transaction appear, unconfirmed. Then, as miners competed to solve the cryptographic puzzle, it was bundled into a block. One confirmation, 3 confirmations. It was done. The value had moved across a decentralized, global network, verified by consensus, not by a bank. It was pseudonymous, tied to a wallet address, not Silas Vance's name. It was permissionless, no one could stop it. It was final, no chargebacks. It was money as pure, unforgiving code. Eli felt a dizzying sense of agency and terror. He was the bank, the custodian, the sender. The power was absolute, and so was the responsibility. He returned to the cabin, his mind a whirlwind of contrasts. The sterile ease of the digital transfer, the anxious thrill of the cash handoff, the profound, lonely power of the crypto transaction. He was starting to see them not as better or worse, but as different tools for different philosophies. Silas listened to his report, a faint smile on his lips. Good, you're learning. Now there's one more thing. He pointed to a sealed envelope on the mantel. Take that to Mara Finch. At the general store. Tomorrow. Mara Finch, Eli discovered, was the town's eccentric. She ran the store, accepted every form of payment imaginable, and was a local legend for her financial sermons. When Eli handed her the envelope, she opened it, revealing a single, beautiful gold coin and a USB drive. "Ah," she said, her eyes twinkling. "Silas's final exam for you. Sit." Over a cup of terrible, strong coffee, she became his tutor. She held up the gold coin. Commodity money. Value is in the thing itself. It's heavy. It's real. It's trust in physics, not politicians. She tapped the cash register, which held dollars. Fiat cash. The paper is worthless. The trust is in the state that backs it. It's a social contract, light and portable, but the contract can be broken. She gestured to her square reader. Digital fiat. The same social contract, but now it's an IOU in a database. Faster, traceable, convenient. The ultimate tool for a society of control and convenience. Then she plugged in the USB drive, showing a graph of Bitcoin's meteoric and terrifying rises and falls. Cryptocurrency. A new kind of contract. Not with a state, but with mathematics and a decentralized network. It's digital scarcity. It's trust in code and consensus. It's hope for an escape from the old systems, and a playground for new kinds of chaos. But which one is real money? Eli asked, feeling like a child. Mara laughed. They all are, dear. Because money isn't a thing. It's a story we all agree to tell each other about what has value. The cash tells a story of national unity. The digital entry tells a story of institutional efficiency. The crypto tells a story of individual sovereignty. The gold tells a very old story of intrinsic worth. The question isn't which is real. The question is, which story? Do you need to believe, and when? Eli's education turned urgent the following week. A massive, coordinated cyber attack hit the core banking switches. For 48 hours, digital payments froze. Cards were declined. ATMs showed zero balances. Wire transfers hung in limbo. The digital river had iced over. Panic, quiet and cold, seeped into the town. At Mara's store, a young couple stared in horror as their Apple Pay failed for diapers and formula. Mara quietly reached under the counter, pulled out the couple's tab, a paper ledger, and scribbled. "We'll sort it later," she said. Credit, the oldest form of money. Trust between individuals. Another customer, frantic, offered to write a check. "Worthless right now, honey," Mara said gently. "The banks can't talk to clear it." The check, a paper instruction for digital money, was useless without the digital backbone. Then, a man came in with a side of venison. "For my tab, and for some salt, sugar, and ammo," he said. Barter, direct exchange of goods, cumbersome but system-proof. And Eli watched as Mara's hidden reserve of cash became king. For those who had it, life went on. They bought gasoline, medicine, groceries. The grubby paper, so recently an afterthought, was now the only thread holding daily life together. Its story, of immediate, transactional trust, was the only one everyone could still read. He also saw the limits of crypto. A miner from the next town over tried to buy a generator with Bitcoin. The transaction, on the clogged blockchain, took 2 hours to confirm. The seller, seeing the plummeting price on his phone as panic sold off crypto assets, demanded twice the original Bitcoin amount. The deal fell apart in a storm of volatility and technological delay. In a crisis, the crypto story of a new, independent system faltered, proving it was not yet a story of stability. Silas passed peacefully in his sleep the night the digital systems came groaning back online. As the notifications began pinging on phones around the cabin, transaction posted, payment processed, the old man's final lesson hung in the air. At the reading of the will, the family was shocked. The substantial digital assets, stocks, bonds, bank money, were divided conventionally. But the iron box's contents were specified, the remaining cash to Eli, for remembering the feel of value, the silver to Mara Finch, for teaching its history, and a final, cryptic clause. "My cryptocurrency keys are to be burned." The value is not in the coin, but in the knowledge that it existed outside of all their systems. Let it be lost, as a reminder that not all value must be captured. Eli returned to New York a changed man. His triple monitors still glowed, tracing the digital flows of capital. But he now saw the layers beneath. He saw the frantic, invisible digital pulses as one fragile layer in a palimpsest of value. He kept a month's expenses in cash in a safe place, acknowledging its primal power. He invested a small, speculative portion of his portfolio in crypto, not as a get-rich scheme, but as a conscious bet on a different story, a hedge against the system he served. One evening, tracing a complex money laundering scheme that flitted between offshore digital accounts, dark web crypto payments, and was finally cashed out into used luxury watches, he finally understood. The criminal wasn't using one type of money. He was using the friction between them, the anonymity gap between cash and crypto, the speed of digital to crypto, the tangibility of cash as an endpoint. Eli drafted his report, but he also started a private, encrypted journal. He titled it The Ledger of Value. In it, he didn't just record numbers, but stories. Entry 1. Digital money is the language of the modern world. Please do like and subscribe my channel.